Hello everybody and welcome back to another Phasmophobia video. I know there are a lot of solo ghost hunters out there who could probably use some advice and help, and playing Phasmophobia alone can be kind of overwhelming and even terrifying at first. However, with the right strategies and mindset, you can easily master solo runs and flex your new ghost hunting skills. So today, we're going to go over 10 tips on how to succeed in those solo ghost investigations. From decision making to survival, you're going to learn everything you need to know. Tip number 1 is make sure to upgrade any equipment beforehand. Before you start your investigation, quickly check your equipment. If possible, make sure all your equipment is upgraded and ready to go. And also don't bring more than you need in case things go sideways. I always recommend bringing one of each item, but grab a few extra dots, salt, even ghostwriting book, and make sure to have a lot of smudges. Also, bring some sanity medication as it can be useful if you need extra time to find the bone or complete objectives. Tip number 2 I have is to make sure to choose the right map. And I know this is obvious, but you don't want to jump into prison or high school solo unless you're really wanting to challenge yourself. That, or maybe you're just a bit of a masochist. I'm going to recommend any house map. Tanglewood and Willow are usually my go-to. Camp Woodwind is also a great map as it's pretty small and also very open. And although Tanglewood is my go-to solo map, I sometimes like to jump around and switch it up with maps like Ridgeview. It's just a nice change of pace, but also not too overwhelming. Just remember to keep it simple. Tip number 3 is to make sure to start your investigation off right. Your priority should always be to turn the breaker on as soon as possible, and utilizing the lights to reduce your sanity drain while also being able to see is a huge plus. You want to make sure you maximize the time you have before the ghost is in hunting range. And given you're going to be alone, setting yourself up early for the investigation is key to succeeding. Tip number 4 is to pick the right equipment for the right job. Looking for the ghost room? Grab an EMF and thermometer. After turning the breaker on, your number 1 priority should be finding the ghost room ASAP. The EMF can help you locate objects that have been interacted with, while the thermometer can confirm the ghost room's location as it will be colder than the rest of the map. Got the ghost room figured out? Time to drop all your gear and grab more stuff from the truck. Try to start knocking out evidence quickly, as some things like dots can take some time. I really recommend setting up at least 1 dots early on, so hopefully you have enough time to see it. Things like ghost orbs and UV can be ruled out pretty quickly, as ghost orbs only takes a few seconds of looking through the video camera, while the UV can quickly be confirmed or ruled out with salt or interactions on light switches or doors. Once enough equipment is shoveled into the ghost room, take note of the objectives, as these give a huge chunk of bonus money and XP. Whenever I'm waiting for something like dots or freezing or maybe even ghostwriting, it's easy to knock out these optional objectives and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Since there's only 1 person to haul equipment on solo, I highly recommend dropping your flashlight in the ghost room to give you an extra inventory slot to pick up more gear. Tip number 5 is be selective with decision making. Do you still need to complete all 3 optional objectives and the ghost is chain hunting? Maybe it's time to pack it up and head to the next game. Can't get that last piece of evidence and ran out of smudges? Nothing wrong with making an educated guess and moving on. Don't ever feel married to going for that perfect game every time, because surviving should always be your number 1 priority. Tip number 6 is make sure to familiarize yourself with hiding spots. Given you are solo, there is no danger of accidentally exposing your friend to danger during a hunt, so just quickly check closets, lockers, and a few other hiding spots, and also make sure to have a game plan to reach that hiding spot either before or during a hunt. Speaking of hunts, tip number 7 is to make sure to stay calm during hunts. It's easy to lose a lot of confidence when you're playing solo. You don't have your teammates to coordinate with or call out where the ghost is. Just take a deep breath and try carefully listening to the ghost to try and figure out where it is. As long as you're not hanging out in the ghost room during a hunt, you're more than likely going to be safe long enough to have time to react to the ghost. Tip number 8 is going to be using cursed objects wisely. And cursed objects are a great way to either locate the ghost or even trigger a hunt. But just be careful, you don't want to trigger a cursed hunt too early, so be a little conservative, but later in the game, feel free to let them rip just to force a hunt. Tip number 9, and probably the most important thing, is that when you're playing solo, you have complete control over the entire investigation. You get to make all the decisions, lead the strategies, and have the liberty to play however you like. You get to test the ghosts for how you want to test for them. You can narrow down ghosts how you want to narrow them down. And it's just a huge plus being alone because you get to control how the match goes. And on top of this, you don't have to worry about endangering your teammates or conflicting playstyles. And tip number 10 is learning how to survive. And while this might not be exclusive to solo, you will inevitably run into a hunt, and knowing how to survive them is key. An important tip is to utilize your sprint wisely. Have your stamina ready for when you need to make a quick getaway, and use your sprint to ensure you break line of sight. Sprinting in a straight line out in the open will not save you. Another obvious tip is that your smudge stick is going to be your best friend. Always have a smudge or two on you later into the game, because you never know when a ghost might roam away from the crucifixes and catch you off guard. Use these smudges effectively as well. Don't immediately use it when the ghost is 4 rooms away. Use it as a last second safety net for when your sprinting and positioning cannot save you. To add on to this, don't put yourself into a bad position to escape the ghost. Again, you don't want to come face to face with the ghost in a large open area because it's only going to make things worse. The ghost is going to speed up with a lot of line of sight, and you may not have enough time to reach a hiding spot. Always be aware of where the ghost is or might be. They can roam, so don't bank on the fact that it's always going to start the hunt from that bathroom when it could easily roam into a nearby hallway. Be prepared and make sure to have a game plan. Have enough time to listen to the ghost without having line of sight. Have enough room to get line of sight and watch for different ghost behavior during a hunt. Make sure you're close enough to a hiding spot if need be, and also not a hiding spot where the ghost could easily see you enter it. Be prepared for a fast ghost that you may not be able to outrun. Also be prepared for things like a ghost event that might cause a ghost to initiate a hunt near you. And this list goes on, just be mindful and intentional with your actions. I really want to drive home the point about trying to keep your sanity up and trying to just avoid hunts completely. Like I mentioned earlier, staying in the light and using sanity medication is a great way to keep your sanity up, and if there's a situation where you need to drain your sanity, being in the dark or even using cursed objects will lower your sanity. Just try to be mindful of how long you've been inside the investigation. If the crucifixes start going off and you need more time, just pop a sanity medication and you'll be good for a bit. The best way to survive a hunt is avoiding them entirely. And there we have it. Hopefully these tips are helpful to some of you, and if you found this video helpful, please consider leaving a like or even subscribing, and thank you so much for watching.